So you're getting ready to sell your house. Let's get the most amount of money possible. And you think to yourself, to do that, let's go way up on price. Then they can talk us down to the price that we actually want. And that's how we'll make our money, right? May not work that way. And that approach, while it makes sense theoretically, may actually cost you thousands of dollars. So let's talk about it. My name's Steve. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams and Malone Realty Group out of Atlanta. We work with sellers, and sometimes sellers do bring this up. They say, we want to get the best price possible, so let's go high on price. And then that way somebody can come in, give us an offer that's low, and we can kind of work it out and end up exactly where we want to be. And theoretically, it makes sense. However, in this market that we're in right now, it may actually not make sense and could cost you money like we talked about, because there's issues with timing and issues with leverage. And we're going to talk about all the reasons why. So there's 6 reasons why going too high on price may actually delay the closing and may actually cost you thousands of dollars in what you finally make on that house. So it's the first thing, the first reason why it's not smart to go super high on price is the buyers know. Okay, there are plenty of tools online. There's one tool that everybody knows about that you go on whatever this website is.com, and they have whatever their website is estimate of what the price of the house is. And so people look at that and they say, oh, that's the price of the house. And then there's other realty companies that have home value estimators and things like that. And then people can go on tax records and things like that. And they have the realtor there too to let them know what the price of the house is. So let's say you're selling a house and it's $300,000. Let's say that's the value of the house. That's what you want to get for the house. And everybody knows that says this house is probably worth $300,000. So if you go in and try selling it for $320,000, all the buyers are going to know that look at it like, oh, $320,000 in there. That's weird. That kind of looks like the house is supposed to be $300,000. So everybody's going to say that, right? So when you have a whole wave of buyers come in and looking, and many of them saying that's not priced right, you're going to have fewer buyers who actually pull the trigger and say, let's go take a look at that house because that's a good value. They're already going to be tipped off that there's an issue. So while it makes sense, again, to go a little high, buyers are going to know if the price isn't right. So buyers are not going to go in and take a look at the house as they would if it was priced correctly in the first place. So that's number 1. Number 2, the house has to appraise. So even if you get a higher price for the house has to appraise. The appraisers come in on behalf of the lenders to come in and get a third-party estimate of what the house is worth. So what they'll do is they'll come in and they're going to look at comps in the neighborhood. So when they look at the comps in the neighborhood, and they look at the values in the neighborhood, and they look at your house, what are they going to see? The house is worth $300,000. So even if you sell it for $320,000 to try and get a higher price, the appraiser is going to come in and say, the house is worth $300,000. And it's going to bring the price down to where it probably should have been in the first place. Well, a lot of people then say, well, we could get a cash offer. Makes sense, except for the fact that cash offers are pretty savvy buyers. And they typically don't spend as much and offer as much as people who have loans because they have cash. And that has value, having a cash offer versus an offer with a loan. So for that reason, cash offers typically aren't even going to go as high as those other offers are. So holding out for a cash offer for over asking, is probably not going to work out in most situations. Number 3, going too high on price means less offers on the house. Okay, in this market, let's say you're selling somewhere in, I'm primarily in Gwinnett, Forsyth, Hall, primarily. So let's say you're in Suwanee, or you're in Duluth, or you're in Cumming, or you're in Flowery Branch, whatever, and you're in one of those hot markets, and you sell your house for $300,000. If it looks the part, and $300,000 is the right price, you are going to get a boatload of offers if you list at $300,000. If you list at $320,000, you're not going to get as many offers. You're not going to get as many buyers. The offers may not be as good. If it's at $300,000, people realize that there is value there. They're going to put in a very strong offer that may go above the $300,000. It may go to $310,000, $315,000, and that's where you're going to get the potential for an offer that's above asking price and get to that number that you want to get to. But if you go for $320,000, people are not going to see the value in that house. They're going to look and say, that looks like a $300,000 house to me. It doesn't look like a $320,000 house. So they may not see it as much and they may not put an offer on the house. So you're going to get more offers and more competitive offers if you actually price closer to where you're supposed to be. The other thing is it's going to take longer to get an offer. So number 4 is even though you're going to get less offers and it might take longer to get those offers. If it's a super hot house, you put it out first day, you should get multiple offers. If it's too high a price, you're going to get fewer showings, fewer offers, and they may take longer to come in. And everything boils down to, and what we talk about in real estate is when you're selling your house, there are 3 goals that we have for our clients. Number 1, we want to get you the most amount of money possible. Number 2, we want to get you sold as quickly as possible. And number 3, we want you to have as little headache as possible in selling the house. And it's very hard to do those 3 things if we're overpriced because it's going to take longer because you're not going to get as many offers. You're going to make less money because, as we talked about, people know that it's too high priced. And then you also have the headaches as well. So it's going to be longer to get an offer if we overprice the house. They're also going to lengthen the amount of time on the market. So if it's longer to get an offer, then they're going to come in and do, an inspection. Think about it this way: if you're selling a house, or I take it back. You're buying a house. Okay, let's say you're buying a house. There's 15 offers on the house, and you won. You won the house. When you do your inspection, you know that there's 14 offers that are just sitting there waiting. When you do the inspection, are you going to ask for everything in the world, or are you going to ask for the most important things to be fixed after an inspection? You're not going to be nitpicky. You're going to ask for only the important things, and important safety things to be done. Okay? Now, let's say you go to a house that's been on the market for a month, and it's come down in price a couple of times, and you're the only offer. When you do the inspection, are you more than likely going to ask for stuff, or are you going to ask for more stuff on that inspection, or are you going to do on the other inspection where you were 1 in 15 first weekend, and you know there are people right behind you looking to take the house? So if you are the buyer on a home a month down the road, you're going to ask for more stuff. Okay, so keep that in mind. So on the flip side, if you're selling it, the longer it takes to sell, then the more you're going to have to potentially fix during the due diligence period. That could lengthen the transaction a little bit. Those people could actually fall out because you don't necessarily get a chance to finalize the deal with them. Then you have to go back on the market, or you have to go with all the other, fixing things like that. It just makes it much more complicated, and it lengthens the process. And anybody who's moving is moving somewhere. You want to get from A to B. Now, whether B is you're upsizing, you're downsizing, you're going from selling or from owning to renting, you're moving to another state, whatever the reason is, you're selling the home for a reason. It's going to take you longer to get from A to B if we're overpriced because, again, you're going to have fewer offers, you're going to have fewer people looking at the house, you're going to have less leverage in the negotiating, things like that, and it's just going to take you longer. So instead of being 30 days to close, it's going to be 60, maybe even 90 days, maybe even 120 days before you close on your house. And finally, and I just said the word, but this is the important thing, and it kind of wraps it all together, is leverage. You have less leverage in the negotiating if you go too high. If you go too high, again, and people are thinking this way in the very beginning. We're going to go high so that the person can actually give us an offer, and then we'll meet somewhere in the middle, which is where we want to be anyway. So when you automatically, or you start out thinking that, you're already anticipating having low offers and then trying to meet somewhere in the middle. The problem is you don't have that leverage because you're probably only going to have 1, maybe 2 offers, at that higher price. You have more leverage if you have 15 offers in your hand, that are at the price of the home. And then you get a stronger offer, stronger terms on the offer, things like that. The higher you go, the longer it takes, the less leverage you have. So again, the 3 things that we look for are price the home right and get the most amount of money for you possible, get it done as quickly as possible, and have as little headache as possible. And leverage is what helps us get those things done. And we give that up if we go too high on the price, knowing that it's going to take a little bit of time to sell the house. Because every weekend that the house sells, the potential for making money goes down a little bit every single weekend. So if that made sense, or you want to talk more about it, or say, hey, you're completely wrong, let's talk about it. Love talking about real estate anytime. 470-233-4409. Again, this is Steve, real estate agent, Keller Williams, Malone Realty Group. Y'all be good. Take care. Bye.